political finance now. Soak it all in, like try to be masters at it because it'll show up quite often. And the other units will be a little bit faster. So this one, I kind of purposely push on the brakes a little bit. I want to get you a good start. And then just slow, right? I accelerate towards the end. So don't get too comfortable. It's not scary fast, but it goes faster, okay? If you have a highlighter, great. Underline if you don't, okay? This is the one formula that is on your yellow formula sheet. So if you don't want to use up real estate on your study sheet, it's right there, right down in the middle, fuel economy and liters per 100 kilometers. So it's there, so it's the same one, but I will highlight it anyways. So fuel economy is a formula, but it's also a number that they give you. So you're like, what? Yeah. So when you look at a sticker, I don't know if you've ever seen these cars displayed in the mall. I haven't been in the mall for like, I don't know, over a year. So I don't know if that's still happening. But the car will have a sticker like this, where it tells you, if you look carefully, it says this car uses on average, very important word, 9 liters for every 100 kilometers it drives. Why am I saying average? When you go on a highway, your car uses less fuel because you're keeping a consistent speed, so it's just like coasting. When you're in the city, you start, you stop, you start, you stop. Every time you accelerate, your car uses most of its fuel going from a stop to a 50 kilometer an hour. That's when you use most fuel. So in the city, this particular car would probably use 12 liters, more or less. Actually, if you zoom in here, can you see that? It's very small. I apologize, but it says 10.7 in the city. So almost 11 liters in the city. And what does it say underneath it? 7.5 liters on a highway. So they always, car manufacturers, they always want to post the average, even though most of us drive in the city, right? So you should really be posting the 10.7, right? But there it is. And then the US, they use miles per gallon, but I'm not going to talk about miles per gallon in this course. So we focus on liters per 100 kilometers, okay? I'm going to zoom back out. So I state the obvious, but sometimes students forget, especially when it's exam time. The answer is expressed in liters per 100 kilometers, okay? That's very, very important. Your answer isn't just a number. It's going to mean how many liters that car uses for every 100 kilometers it drives. And sometimes it's referred to as the fuel consumption. Same thing, fuel economy, fuel consumption, right? Fuel economy. Fuel economy of vehicle, the number of liters of gasoline a vehicle requires to travel, right? Liters requires to travel 100 kilometers. That's basically what it is. A higher fuel economy, right, number corresponds to a higher cost of driving, right? So if you have a bigger fuel economy, it's going to obviously mean you need to pay for more liters as you drive. And right now, if you look at the gas prices, do you care about the gas prices? I guess some of you are gassing up already. $1.50, that's crazy. A smaller fuel economy, right? It's a lower cost of driving. So if you get a Toyota Corolla, you can probably get 8 liters per 100 kilometers, not bad. The smaller the car, most likely more fuel efficient. So when you see a fuel economy of 7.4 liters per 100 kilometers, I know you're saying it's obvious, Mr. Dirksen, but it really means, right, it takes 7.4 liters to travel 100 kilometers. So if you drive 200 kilometers, guess what? You're going to use 14.8. Are you impressed by my mental math skills? It's pretty good. I just doubled it, right? The fuel economy of your vehicle vary depending on when you drive, right? If you rush hour, I always stay, by the way, when 3:30 comes along, I always stay for an hour and do all my marking, blah, blah, because the rush hour is crazy, right? You just bumper to bumper traffic. You're basically burning fuel, right? The whole time. How you drive, there's something called a jackrabbit, right? If you're younger, this is how younger people drive, right? They have the music blasting and they come to a halt at a stop sign and then they spin the wheels to get to the next stop sign, right? When you get older, like me, I just take my time, right? I just take my time. There's no point. I'm going to see you in the next red light anyways, right? You're going to pass me and then I'll see you again, right? So there's no point. The types of optional equipment installed. So sometimes if you put too much stuff on the car, it gets heavier. For every 50 pounds of weight you put in the car, you'll notice this. If you have a bunch of people carpooling with you, you will burn more fuel because the car has to work harder to transport that weight, right? The condition of the vehicle's engine. So if you don't do oil changes, if you just don't care about it, don't maintain it, you're gonna also notice a higher fuel economy. So these are all components that contribute to it, okay? Manufacturers voluntarily place a fuel economy label on new vehicles. This label will tell you the city and the highway fuel economy. The city fuel economy of a vehicle is different than the highway. This is important. Fuel economy on the highway is generally smaller compared to the same vehicle in the city. We're not going to worry about the US, but the US uses miles per gallon. They kind of flip it. It's like, how many miles can you travel on 1 gallon of fuel? We do it the other way. Okay? And we'll do some math in a bit. So flip to the back side here. We'll jump right in. So I don't know if you remember at the beginning we did a lot of cross multiplying and dividing. Remember the first day? It's coming back here. This is where I need you to know how to use it. And it's actually fairly easy if you just pay attention. Okay, so here it is. A car is driven 280.2 kilometers, right? And uses 26.78 liters of gas. Calculate the fuel economy of the car. So you're not given one, you have to calculate it. Fuel economy, I'm looking at my formula here. Fuel used over distance traveled times 100. That's how you will figure it out. Okay, so I'm writing down my formula and now I'm calculating it. Fuel economy is 26.78 liters divided by 280.2 kilometers, and that gets multiplied by 100. Hey, you probably don't like the dot there, right? So just turn that into an X there. And really, all you have to do is just follow it. Follow what it says. Watch. 26.78 divided by 280.2. You divide it like that, and then you multiply it by 100. Hit equals just to be sure. Something went wrong there. I'm going to try it again. Now, I probably typed in an extra 0 there somewhere. You know why it didn't make sense to me? Because it was like 0 point something. That doesn't make sense for a car to have that fuel economy. So 9.5 what? The 7 bumps that to a 6. And then you just tack on liters per 100 kilometers. That is the fuel economy. So you've just actually quite often, and I do this not all the time, but I do this from time to time, the fuel economy stated is totally off compared to what you actually consume. I usually consume more fuel than what the sticker tells me. Because our winters are so harsh, the engine has to work harder. All of those things work towards it. So that's your fuel economy. So every 100 kilometers you drive, almost 10 liters of gas, right? Almost, not quite. So B, now that we have a fuel economy, we can do a bunch of things. Okay, how much fuel would you need to drive 1,500 kilometers? Okay, so watch this, folks. Start with your fuel economy and just write it like this. Write it as a fraction like this. So this is true. For 9.56 liters, you can travel 100 kilometers. Equals. You are given a distance, right? So kilometers are in the denominator. You'll put the kilometers that you want to travel in the denominator. Does that make sense? Please don't flip it, right? Kilometers needs to line up with kilometers. And this is going to be X number of liters that I will need. So let's do this, folks. From the 9.56, let's just do an arrow. Because if you have the fuel economy, use it. Use it. Put it down like that. And then they might give you the liters or they might give you the distance. In this case, they gave us a distance. And I don't know if you remember this. Watch carefully. You always look at the variable. You start on that side and then you travel across. Cross multiply and divide. That's how this goes. So X is 1,500. Please show this step. It doesn't take much. Right? This times this divided by 100. When you get to this step, you can actually go equals and then equals again, but don't put it right next to this whole thing. Some students just go equals and they put the answer here. I don't want that, okay? It's not correct to say that. So then we just multiply that, 1,500 times 9.56 divided by 100. So I need 143.4 liters. So if you're going to Calgary, I don't know, I'm just guessing it's about 1,500 kilometers. I don't know. It might be more, it might be less. But it's a fair bit of traveling. So you would need to make sure you have enough money to pay for this many liters of gas, right? Used, right? Or needed to travel that distance. So C. Yeah. So okay, yeah. You can do it that way. If you recognize that this was multiplied by 15 to get this, you just multiply that by 15 to get that, yes. But it won't always be as clear. Like this might be an ugly number that you don't recognize, like what it's. Yeah, so be careful. I would be okay with it. Yeah, no problem. All right, next, watch this. So B is done. Park it. Yeah, there's tissue right here. Yeah. Hold on. C. What distance could you travel on a full tank with set that has 70 liters in it? What are we going to start with? If you're given the fuel economy, start with it. Okay, so I'm going to go 9.56 because this is a fact, right? We just determined that this is always true for this car. Not really, okay? Like, not really. We're quote unquote, it's always true, except for if you're a jackrabbit, right? Like if it's a different driver. But, and then what do we know? We know that the fuel, how much fuel we have. Liters are up top. So you say, hey, I know that I have 70 liters in my tank. How far can I drive in kilometers? That's basically what you're asking. Start with the fuel economy. If you have it, start with it and then fill in either one of these. So x is 70. Watch this. You start on the right side because that's your variable. Now you have to cross multiply this way and divide that way. Okay? 70 times 100 divided by 9.56. Raphael, do you see how in this case it would be tougher? Yeah. 9.56. Oh, wait. What am I doing? 70 times 100 divided by 9.56. So this is your answer. You can travel not too bad. This is a pretty good distance. 0.2 what? 2, right? And I know that I'm figuring out kilometers. I hope that makes sense. So with this particular car, it must be a Corolla or something. No, probably a little bit bigger than a Corolla. And time is up, right? So we're gonna park it there. No homework. How's that?